A Charlotte man is accused of murdering a missing Charlotte woman. Shaquina Harris was reported missing by her family back on July 13th, and police now say Floyd Long has been charged with murder, failure to report a death, and larceny of a dog.
A homeowner tells investigators a missing woman left his house days ago. A neighborhood surveillance camera captures him leaving that same house later that afternoon, carrying her dog. A witness sits in a police interview room and describes a woman lying motionless on a bed. And weeks later, search teams walking through a wooded perimeter locate human remains. These 4 separate pieces of evidence belong to the exact same case. But for weeks, the family of Shaquina Latavia Harris did not know about the camera, the witness, or the woods. They only knew that a 29-year-old woman went to visit her newborn niece and never returned.
We left no stone unturned, so to find out that she was just that close was just even worse, because all I wanted was to bring her home.
The question is how investigators connected Shaquina's last known message to the evidence that turned a missing person search into a first-degree murder prosecution. Before the police reports and search warrants, Shaquina Harris was an anchor to the people who knew her. She was 29 years old, living in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her life was defined by routine and familial connection. She stayed in constant contact with her relatives. And where Shaquina went, her dog usually followed, a distinct, long-haired Yorkie Terrier mix. When someone with these habits stops answering the phone, the concern is immediate. Her aunt, Shaquina Harris, would later explain to reporters that Shaquina did not take unannounced breaks from her life. So when her communication stopped in early July of 2026, her family knew this was not a choice. She was either separated from her phone or unable to answer it.
Road. On July 3rd, Shaquina goes completely blank. Nobody hear from her, see her. It just ain't like her.
That silence began on a Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. Shaquina is at an Atrium hospital in uptown Charlotte. She is visiting her sister to see her newborn niece. It is a completely normal family moment. She leaves the hospital. From this point forward, the physical sightings stop, and the investigation shifts to her cellular data. According to investigators, after leaving the hospital, Shaquina's phone moved north to a residential neighborhood. Specifically, it pinged near Woodford Bridge Drive in North Charlotte. While in that area, her phone registered its final outgoing call. She made her final post on social media. And then, her location data anchored to that single neighborhood. The device did not necessarily power down immediately, but public records indicate it stopped traveling. For investigators, that location became a critical fixed point in the timeline. Days passed. Text messages delivered but went unread. Calls rolled straight to voicemail. By July 13th, 11 days after the hospital visit, her family officially reported Shaquina missing to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. Detectives began standard canvassing. Her friend, Michaela Carter, helped mobilize the community, determined to keep Shaquina's face visible on local news feeds. But investigators had the phone records, and those records told them exactly where Shaquina's final communications originated. The Woodford Bridge Drive address tied to that location data belonged to a 45-year-old man named Floyd Morris Long. Detectives approached him to establish what happened after Shaquina's phone arrived in his neighborhood. Long acknowledged to investigators that Shaquina had been at his residence, but his account contained a very specific timeline. He told police that she left his home on July 5th If Long's account were accurate, it would place Shaquina alive at his home 3 days after her final outgoing call. It would mean she walked away, presumably with her dog, without her phone ever registering a new location away from his street. Investigators rely on evidence to verify accounts. The evidence they found next complicated Long's timeline. Detectives secured footage from a neighborhood Ring camera near his home. They checked the timestamp for July 5th, the exact day Long claimed Shaquina had left. At 4:52 p.m. that afternoon, the camera captured movement. It showed Floyd Morris Long leaving the residence. He was not alone. Another man was walking with him, and right there with them was a dog matching the distinct description of Shaquina's long-haired Yorkie mix. Shaquina was nowhere in the frame. The footage created an immediate contradiction. If Shaquina had already left the home, why was her dog leaving later that afternoon, accompanied by Long and an unidentified man? The footage also provided detectives with a new witness. They needed to find the second man in that video. When investigators identified and interviewed the man from the Ring camera, the scope of the case fundamentally shifted. According to court documents, this witness provided an account that rewrote the timeline. He told detectives that in early July, Long confided that he had done something bad and asked the man for help moving something inside the house. The witness described what happened next. He told police he walked into the Woodford Bridge Drive home and stepped into a bedroom. There, lying on the bed, was a woman. The witness said she matched Shaquina's description. He told detectives she was cold to the touch, bleeding from her nose, and entirely unresponsive. The investigation was no longer just a search for a missing woman. It was an active pursuit of physical evidence to test a severe allegation. Armed with this witness testimony and the Ring camera footage, police secured search warrants for Long's home and his vehicle. According to the arrest affidavits, investigators conducted presumptive testing for the presence of blood inside the house. The results were positive. They moved to Long's vehicle. In the backseat of the car, presumptive tests again returned positive results for suspected blood. They also recovered a firearm from the property. A presumptive test is not a confirmed DNA match. But combined with a witness statement and a digital timeline, the physical findings presented a stark contrast to Long's initial account. Yet investigators still needed to know where Long went after he left the house. The witness held one more critical piece of information. He mentioned to detectives that Long appeared to have a specific, intense fascination with a semi-wooded area off Statesville Road, located in North Charlotte. Investigators tested that statement against Long's cellular data. They checked his movements for July 6th, the day after the Ring camera recorded him leaving the house, and the day after the witness allegedly saw the woman in the bedroom. According to investigators, Long's cellular data placed his phone in that exact area off Statesville Road. The separate pieces of the investigation were beginning to point toward the same location. Shaquina's phone stopped at Long's house. Long said she left. The camera showed him leaving with her dog. The witness reported seeing a body. The house tested positive for suspected blood, and Long's phone data led to the woods. On August 7th, 2026, more than a month after Shaquina visited the hospital, search teams arrived at the Statesville Road location. They deployed a specially trained cadaver dog into the thick summer brush. In that semi-wooded perimeter, the family's search came to an end. Investigators located human skeletal remains. Nearby, they found personal belongings directly tied to Shaquina. Arrest warrants were drafted the very same day. It took the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department's Violent Criminal Apprehension Team another week to track him down. On August 15th, they located Floyd Morris Long and took him into custody. The charges reflected the chain of evidence investigators had built: first-degree murder, concealment of a death, failure to report a death, possession of a firearm by a felon, and one final specific charge: larceny of a canine. During his first court appearance on August 17th, a judge denied bond. Long was ordered held in the Mecklenburg County Jail. Under the law, Floyd Morris Long is currently accused, presumed innocent until proven guilty in a courtroom. Prosecutors have laid out a timeline backed by location data, surveillance timestamps, presumptive forensic tests, and a witness. But an arrest warrant is not a complete narrative. Significant investigative gaps remain publicly unfilled. Authorities have not released an official cause or manner of death. They have not publicly announced a suspected motive. They have not explained what, if any, relationship existed between Shaquina and Long before she arrived in his neighborhood on July 2nd. They have not detailed what actually happened inside that house during the critical 72 hours between her final phone call and the moment the witness walked into the bedroom, and the dog, the Yorkie mix captured on the Ring camera, the animal Long is charged with stealing, has not been found. It is easy to look at a case file and see only the mechanics of a criminal proceeding: the cell tower pings, the surveillance footage, the blood tests. But behind every data point is a woman who went to visit her newborn niece. She had a family that loved her, a routine she was actively living, and a future that was suddenly and violently taken from her. The justice system will process the evidence, but it cannot undo the silence she left behind. Cases like this are rarely understood through one dramatic discovery. They are understood through the details, the timeline, the evidence, the contradictions, and the questions that remain. If this is how you want true crime told, Unbelievable is built around following documented facts rather than speculation. Subscribe to track this case as it enters the public record. Based on the current verifiable evidence, which part of Shaquina's final 72 hours do you think investigators still need to establish most clearly as this case moves toward trial?